Schizophrenia is a complex neurological disorder that affects between 150 to 200,000 Australians. Currently, the cause of the disease is unknown. However, there is some valuable research that theorises both the cause and treatment of the disease. Whilst the disease cannot be cured, current drug therapies aim to nullify the positive symptoms using typical antipsychotics and negative symptoms using the more recent atypical antipsychotic drug therapies. Advancements in antipsychotics aim to reduce the often debilitating endocrine and extrapyramidal side effects associated with this class of drug. Cariprazine is an atypical antipsychotic currently awaiting approval from the FDA. Dr. Monica Avila and Dr. Eric Florendo discuss the characteristics of cariprazine under the microscope from the regulatory body and whether approval is likely.
The drug is yet to get approved from the FDA for prescription use as a pharmacological schizophrenic therapy despite its success in recent clinical trials. What does this say about the drug, Dr. Avila?
FDA approval is a long and complex process in order to ensure that all drugs that are put on the market are safe and effective in terms of what their expected and claimed therapeutic uses are. It is the manufacturer's responsibility to conduct all necessary trials to provide evidence ensuring that the health benefits outweigh the risks. The most significant finding so far is a reduction of classical extrapyramidal side effects associated with cariprazine use, such as akathisia, undesirable factors that are commonly seen in typical antipsychotic drugs, such as chlorpromazine and haloperidol. Although due to the novelty of the drug, the lack of total understanding of the specific principles of cariprazine, and constrained inclusion populations for its clinical trials, the drug's approval has been delayed.
So what's written about the principles of cariprazine in the body as a result of clinical trials that have been conducted, and what information is missing?
We know that cariprazine is rapidly absorbed and that it is similar to most antipsychotics in that it is lipid-soluble, allowing it to readily cross the blood-brain barrier. The mean half-life for cariprazine was found to be 2 to 5 days, with the drug remaining effective in a dose-proportional manner over a range of 1.5 to 12.5 milligrams per day. Peak concentration occurs between 3 to 4 hours after oral administration. It undergoes hepatic metabolism and extremely slow elimination. Currently, it is unclear which doses of cariprazine would offer the best balance in terms of efficacy and tolerability. There are currently limited clinical trials that have examined cariprazine metabolism in subpopulations such as the elderly or those with hepatic impairment, and any adverse drug interactions. More information of the elimination of cariprazine is also required. Extending the clinical trial periods for cariprazine to be observed on a long-term basis would be ideal.
Dr. Florendo, what can you say is the main reason for the development of cariprazine, and how does it work in the body to give its beneficial effects?
The main development of atypical antipsychotics is in relation to the adverse effects of typical antipsychotics, which have an affinity for D2 dopamine receptor subtypes in various neural pathways, sometimes creating debilitating extrapyramidal side effects. This led to the production of cariprazine, which displays affinity for a broader range of receptors. Cariprazine is effective against the positive and negative symptoms of schizophrenia. Unlike many antipsychotics that are D2 and serotonin 2A receptor antagonists, cariprazine is a D2 and D3 partial agonist and has a selectively higher affinity for D3 receptors. Due to the overstimulation of dopamine receptors being implicated as a possible cause of schizophrenia, targeting D2 and D3 receptors are important for the treatment of schizophrenia. Its high selectivity towards D3 receptors could prove to reduce side effects associated with other antipsychotic drugs. Cariprazine also acts on serotonin 1A receptor, though the affinity is considerably lower than the affinity to dopamine receptors. Cariprazine has partial agonist as well as antagonist properties depending on the endogenous dopamine levels. When endogenous dopamine levels are high, cariprazine acts as an antagonist by blocking dopamine receptors. On the contrary, when endogenous dopamine levels are low, cariprazine acts as an agonist, increasing dopamine receptor activity.
So, are there any side effects? How is cariprazine better than the other antipsychotics that were previously on the market?
Cariprazine still exhibits unselective behavior and can therefore still cause blockades at the histamine, alpha, and serotonergic receptors, causing sedation, weight gain, and other side effects seen in current antipsychotics. However, in clinical trials, these side effects have not been significant when compared to placebo-controlled data, and the only significant problem evident for cariprazine is akathisia, which has been shown to occur in about 10% of patients. However, unlike other second-generation antipsychotics such as aripiprazole, cariprazine has been shown to have a higher affinity for the D3 dopamine receptor, and because of this, studies have shown that cariprazine actually has the ability to improve memory and cognitive function more superiorly, as opposed to previous second-generation antipsychotics. Therefore, clinical trials have shown cariprazine to have a relatively safe profile in comparison to other antipsychotics.
Well, there you have it. Whilst cariprazine continues to undergo clinical trials to determine the most effective and balanced dosage range, experts within the industry believe that cariprazine could be the most effective antipsychotic to approach market to date. Well, that's all from us here this evening. We hope that you've enjoyed this week's edition of Your Mind's Eye, and we look forward to your company next week.